now with Dr. Darien on this World Mental Health Day with tips on finding the right therapist for you. What do we need to know, Doc?
I think you have to go through certain steps. So number one, therapy can benefit anyone and everyone. I think the most important first step is understanding what you need help with. Is it depression? Is it anxious feelings? Are you stressed with work, your family, your relationships? That is what you want to sit down and hone down before you start that step in order to getting help.
Let's talk finances. It's expensive.
It's incredibly expensive, and going through the avenues can be really cumbersome. I think the first step is checking with your insurance provider to make sure that it's covered, or just to see if it's covered. Unfortunately, there are many times when it isn't, and if it is, you have to remember that you often have to pay up front, and then you'll get that payment back and get reimbursed. And so you have to look to those options. I think one other option that might be cost effective is looking for telehealth therapy. I think it's really helpful, it's accessible, and it might even be cheaper.
And can be convenient, so people might do it more often. How do you find someone who has the right credentials, making sure you're talking to someone who really knows what they're doing?
Great point. A lot of the times it can be alphabet soup when looking at the letters at the end of our names when we're providers. I know that can be confusing. Also understand that many different avenues to becoming a therapist, it often requires at least a master's degree level of education, and then you get a provisional license where you're then monitored, and then you can apply for the formal license. So I think understanding that process, understanding where your therapist is, not to say people can't help along that process, but it's really important just to know where your therapist is.
And somebody that you like, that works for you, because it's not a one-size-fits-all.
It's very true. I'm glad you bring that up. And also to remember, it's usually more than 1 or 2 times. Many people suggest going at least 3 times. Therapy is not easy. It is work. And so you have to remember it's not always comfortable. Try to go at least more than once before you make your decision on changing it.
And it's not linear. Sometimes you need it, and sometimes you need it more than others. So you just got to stay consistent.
Know that from personal experience.